Hi everyone, my name is Mr. Peacock, and Mr. Edgeworth and I are two teachers at Glencairn who are organizing a field trip for you guys that'll be next week, Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, during either the first block or the middle block of one of those days. Where we are going is to Old Quarry Trail, which is about a 20-minute walk from here, and we're going to go out and have some fun, enjoy the outdoors, rain or shine, and it's looking a little bit like some rain on Monday, and so we have to be ready for the weather when we go. So do look at the forecast as it's coming up. Today we're going to just go through in this video a few details about how to be well prepared and how to make this trip a successful trip. So maybe some 5 W's is a good place to start in terms of who, what, where, when, and why we are going. So where we are going is Old Quarry Trail, and that's right across the street from Hazeldean Mall on Eagleson Road. If you've never been there, it's a conservation area run by the National Capital Commission, the NCC, and they maintain this loop that goes around a marsh, and so it's a very sensitive area, and so we have to be really careful about our presence there as we are going to bring a lot of people there. Who's going to go? Homerooms are going to go 2 groups at a time, and we will do the activities that are there laid out for us, and then we will walk back 2 at a time. That'll take place, as mentioned before, in one of the learning blocks of next week. So that's May 16, 17, and 18th. What'll you do when you get there? Okay, well, I'll go through kind of what the sequence of things how you're going to get there and what you're going to do. So the first thing that we'll do in our learning block in which you're going to go is we're going to gather out on the basketball court, and we're just going to make sure that we've got everybody with us and that we've got all of our materials to go. So we'll walk from there all together on the sidewalk, heading down to Banning Road, then onto I think it's Old Colony Road that runs on that same street as A.Y. Jackson, but it heads towards Eagleson Road. We'll stay on the sidewalk for the whole trip, and we'll cross the lights there, and we're going to make sure that we do it safely. So we're going to be looking to adults if we need adult help to make sure that we're crossing the road safely. We'll cross the road as a large group. So let's be on the lookout for cars and look out for each other and cross together. Once we get over to Old Quarry Trail, we'll be meeting up in the parking lot. We'll be going over very briefly kind of how to go about doing your scavenger hunt, which is effectively what we're going to be doing when we get there. And then you will have in the neighborhood of about an hour to complete the challenges that are out in front of you. And after about an hour, you'll be signaled to come back in. We'll gather again at the parking lot, and then we'll walk the 20 minutes back to Glencairn, have a bite to eat if you're in the morning group, and then we'll go on with your day. If you're in an afternoon group, it's the same kind of thing. You'll have a little bit of recess, but not a lot of recess because you will have just spent a long time outside. In terms of things that you should bring in order to be well prepared, you have to really take a look at the weather first off and see what the temperature is going to be. It's going to be pretty hot next week, and we're also going to be outside. So we have to be well prepared for that, and you're going to be gone for about 2 hours from start to finish. So what you want to make sure is that you've got, first off, if it's going to be wet weather, that you've got appropriate clothing for wet weather. So if you want to wear, if you want to bring a rain jacket, if we think that it's going to be raining, do that. You're going to want to make sure that you bring some sunscreen if it's sunny, that you might bring some bug repellent. So some bug repellent will ward off biting bugs like mosquitoes and that kind of thing, but also serve some protection against ticks. And it'll be really important to be mindful of ticks because this is the season where they're starting to emerge, and they're out there, and they live in grassy areas, and they're looking for hosts, and hosts are animals that they can feed off of, and so we have to make sure. Now, we don't see them very often, but they're out there, so we do have to do an inspection of our lower body, like our ankles and legs and that kind of stuff at the end. So we'll take care of that when we get when we get to that point. You should bring a hat as well. You'll want to bring a water bottle that's filled with water, and probably about 1 liter would be about right. You're going to want some footwear that's appropriate for outdoors. So that could be hiking shoes, sport shoes, just not flip-flops or something that's not going to provide a lot of support for you, because the pathway isn't a paved pathway. It's covered with stones and dirt and roots that are sometimes elevated. And some of the areas are muddy too, so you want to make sure that you bring something that could get perhaps a little bit muddy as well. So you're going to want to wear those outdoor shoes for sure. Also, don't forget, bring a mask. As we still need to be doing that stuff too. In terms of stuff that we will be providing for you, we'll be providing a map with some instructions as well on that piece of paper for each exploring group. And so you'll be getting that, and you should use that and take good care of it. Question of technology comes up a lot too, and so you can bring technology. We would encourage you to not use your technology when you are out there. We're looking to spend some quality time outdoor, and so trying to disconnect really from technology. So we'll try and avoid that and only use it when we absolutely need to use it. Okay, so in terms of some rules and safety precautions, we're just going to make sure that we always make sure that we listen to the adults, whether it's a teacher, an educational assistant, a parent, volunteer who will be coming with us. You're going to make sure that you are always listening to them for your own safety. You're going to listen for an air horn as well. That will be something, and we'll demonstrate that when we get out there as well, what that sounds like. And that would be something that we would sound. It's extremely loud, and that would be a signal for everybody to kind of come back into our gathering point. And our main gathering point is going to be the parking lot. At Old Quarry Trail, and that only takes a maximum of about 15 to 20 minutes from anywhere in our area back to the main to the main area. So be mindful of that. The other things that we're going to make sure that we don't do is that we don't work or walk alone. You always stay with a group. Your groups are going to be of your own creation, and they're going to be a minimum of 3 people, and I would say probably a maximum of about 7 would make the most sense. Okay, and so if you can aim for 5, that would be a spot in the middle. That'd be really good. You won't be needing to go off trail. When you go there, you will see that there's a very clear path that is trampled down and smooth enough for you to walk on. You will see that there are some areas that you could technically walk through. However, we don't want people walking through the forest and that kind of stuff. We want you to stay on the main trail. The only times that we'd like you to go off trail a little bit are to get to your little stations where you'll be completing a few of the activities that will go along with that. So don't go beyond the trail other than from when you see the sign to go to the station and read the activity, complete the activity, and then move on. Okay. One of the last things I want to touch on is the theme of respect. And the theme of respect here is going to touch on respect for the environment, number 1. This is a sensitive area, and we're going to be bringing, hundreds and hundreds of students from Glencairn through that loop. And it'll be really important for us to be sensitive to the environment. So that means that we stay on the trail, that we don't disrupt nature. That means that we're not grabbing branches, and we're not picking up things and moving them far away from where we found them. You're going to want to make sure that you're respectful as well to the wildlife that is there. So if you do see animals there, whether it's like birds or waterfowl or beavers or foxes or coyotes or anything like that that might be around, wild turkeys, those kinds of things, we're going to give them their space. And so we're not going to be going toward them, and we're just going to observe. We're going to use our eyes to make sure that we get a good appreciation for them, and that's all. One thing that you'll notice when you're on the trail is that there's a certain section that currently is under construction, and it's a section that's closed. And so in as much as Old Quarry Trail is an actual loop, the actual loop is not available to us as a complete loop. And so there's a section that will be closed. It's one of the section of the bridges, and that bridge is compromised, and so it isn't safe to be bringing a large group on. And the other thing too is that it's extremely muddy before and after that bridge, and so it's very, very hard to get through that area. And so therefore we're going to make sure that you guys do not go into that closed area. And so what we'll do is we'll put pylons up to make sure that you don't go through there. When you guys come across pylons, it means that don't go any further. And so you'll see that there are some sections that might continue toward, Bell's Corners or toward Bridlewood and those kinds of areas. And so we're going to make sure that we don't go in that direction. I mean, you can go that direction, but when you get to the pylon, we won't go any further than that. And so we have to make sure that we stay within our loop, because we don't want people going farther away than they should. And because they won't find anything there that they're supposed to be looking for, and they will not hear any of the calls to come back for the final roundup. So make sure that you adhere to the signage that's out there, and that we don't go too far. One more thing with regard to medications and your own safety. If you are somebody that requires medication, so if you have allergies to anaphylactic allergies to things that might be out there, bringing an EpiPen would be a good idea, definitely. So you should be carrying that on you. And the other thing is, if you have asthma, for example, you should bring your inhaler as well, your salbutamol or your Ventolin inhaler. So any medications like that should be brought, don't forget to bring those as well. We're going to want to make sure that we leave no trace. We're going to make sure that if we do need to disrupt anything for any activity that we do, for example, finding like art in nature or creating nature art, that when we are finished with that activity, that we don't leave any traces, that anything that we have disrupted, we've kind of put back the way it should be. And that includes, doesn't just limit it to the nature elements that are out there, but we want to make sure that we don't break anything, that we don't litter. So we won't be bringing snacks with us. We're just going to be bringing our water bottles that we would carry with us anyway. So we're going to make sure that we've left this place better or the same as when we found it. The last thing is with regard to other people who will be on the trail. This is public property, and so families are allowed to go there, daycares are allowed to go there, and so on. So if you come across other people on the path, then you make sure that you're polite and that you say hello to them, and wish them a happy day or something like that. But we'll be ultra respectful of the community. We want to represent Glencairn really well. And other than that, we really hope that you guys have a great time. You're here for a good time and doing some learning activities and having fun with some friends outside of the school. And if this all goes well, then we'll certainly be doing it more in the future. So wishing you all the best, and we'll see you out on the trail.